cute platformer.
He was a standard Nintendo character. Squeaked, jumped.
Mario 64 had just arrived on the scene. That was a game changer, I suppose, in terms of the next generation of games.
Of course, as soon as everyone saw that, we were like, okay, guess we better do something like that.
There was an awful lot of content and there was lots of fun ideas, but it just really wasn't gelling as a finished game.
And what happened was, as Banjo came along and they completely torpedoed us. I think Conker, as it was sort of floundering as a concept because it was too similar.
Chris Seaver took over. He was working on art and then became designer on it.
I took the initiative and I came up with an idea that I thought might work.
I think he just wanted to give it a bit more of an edge, really, which is kind of his character as a person.
So we thought, well, let's just go for the comedy element, but let's make it more kind of edgy in terms of its violence. Let's get some narrative in there so we can get the personality of the character out.
For me, there was one key moment which turned it into the game that it was.
I think Tim came up with the idea for the beehive.
The beehive had been stolen from the bees by the nasty wasps.
What wasn't in there was the reason why. It was the narrative and the punchline.
You're being chased by wasps and you're coming down the path and you have to return the queen her hive.
What can we do with that? Oh, I know. We'll make it violent. we'll make it completely over the top.
Eat that, mother buzzer.
That was kind of the light bulb moment, I suppose, for that game. And we showed that to Tim and Chris. And they went, yes, love it, just make more of that.
Conker was evolved over its life. And one of the things that came out of when we were designing levels were the movie parodies. I think the first one was the Terminator. And in the bottom it was, each time you hit it, a bit would drop off. And in the cutscene, a bit dropped off his eye, and you can see behind that it was a robot. I thought, oh, we can get some Terminator cues in here.
Susie 9mm.
I'm right here, sweetie pie. You just tell me where to shoot.
And that's really where it came from. It was like, oh, actually, that worked really well. Because it gave us cues for things like music. It gave us ideas for the design itself, for the gameplay. So we did the Catfish one, which was Godzilla. I mean, there were films around at the time, so it was very much like a kind of a zeitgeisty thing. The Saving Private Ryan one. Okay, well, we've got a beach and you've got to get up it.
We spent a lot of time really trying to get that feeling of, you know, the movies that you know and love. I spent months animating squirrels on fire with their legs falling off and their arms falling off, and there's a part where the squirrel picks up an arm and he sticks it back on and he's like, ooh. And I dreamt about squirrels like burning for like a long time. It had a real effect, I mean.
I was kind of giving hints of some of those soundtracks, and The Matrix being another obvious one with the lobby scene. And that was quite a good interactive piece of music, actually, because when you could hit the bullet time at any point, so we had this kind of channel fade on the music that kind of slowed down and went into this dreamy slow thing, and then back into the kind of hard-hitting industrial beat.
If it hadn't have been The Matrix, if the movie parodies hadn't been there, the gameplay would have been completely different and probably not as good. So it really complemented the game.
Cutscenes were kind of the reward, the sort of payoff at the end of the joke, the equivalent of our, Mario style. We had no script whatsoever. You'd say, it's kind of this, it's kind of that, and we would just bounce ideas backwards and forwards. I'd be constantly record.
And I think that helped because it meant that it was a lot more fluid.
This worked because Chris was designing it, so he had a very good understanding of what the next task was, what you were going to do.
A lot of the creativity, certainly a lot of the funny stuff, just came out of the spontaneity of what we were doing.
We were so excited whenever a new scene came in. We knew we had something special because we'd still be giggling about it months later. Just the way a certain animation was or a way a certain word was said. You're normally sick to death of a game by the time it's finished.
Chris was doing like all the voice